The second chapter is on the guideline. Passed pawns should be blockaded by the king or a knight, but not by a rook. The famous Klingenhorwitz fortress is an example that a king successfully blockades two connected passed pawns in their hole, and this is typical. The attacker, for example, if the pawns were still on g3 and h3, should of course avoid that they will be blockaded like this with the defending king in the hole. Okay, one important point should be known together with this fortress, otherwise it might be difficult to keep it. What to do now? How to defend with black? King takes g5 would be wrong due to h7, and rook g4 also loses. Check. And now white's active king joins the battle. Black's king has been forced out of the blockading position and white wins. The right move is rook b7. This threatens king takes g5, and it prevents now rook g7 check, so that black's king can come back. And the position remains a draw, as black's king is so well placed. Another example is Xiao Yu Stefanova, FIDE Women's Grand Prix Ankara 2012. Black had created two dangerous connected passed pawns, but it is white to move and win. And the reason is that white's king can come and blockade the pawns, and then the rook is much stronger than the bishop. And this is the right distribution of roles of the white pieces. And now white's king can always cross over to blockade the pawns. And then the pieces are in their right distribution of roles. The king solidly blockades the pawns forever, and the rook is active, and white won after some further moves. The knight is also a good blockader, as in Kramnik-Grishuk, candidates match 2011. King c7 and Grishuk's fortress knight on d7 blockades the pass pawn and keeps the house together. Of course, it's good that it's a central pass pawn, so that the blockading knight is also relatively well placed in the center. It would be a bit more difficult if it were, for example, a rook's pawn. Then the blockading knight might be misplaced. But such a pawn can be blockaded by the knight. And here, what was Grishuk's point? Okay, knight c8 draws as well, but Grishuk had a more beautiful idea. Rook b4. Now white's king is imprisoned. White must give the exchange, and then the rook cannot be defeated, of course. A rook is a very strong piece. This is also a draw. So Kramnik exchanged the rooks like this. And here we have a typical fortress. There is no inroad for white's king. The blockading knight is very strong, complements the pawns, and nothing can be done. And after some further moves, a draw was agreed. Such a fortress of the knight is a typical weapon against the bishop. By the way, as the bishop is colorblind, and here Zugzwang is also no weapon to storm it. Kramnik-Grishuk, Weigernsee 2005. Black to move and draw. And the rook is the wrong place to blockade the pawn, so king g4 would be a mistake. Now white has the right distribution of roles. White's king blockades the passed e-pawn, and the rook is placed behind the passed a-pawn, adding his power to the power of the pawn, and black's rook is badly placed. If it moves, then the a-pawn can advance, so Zugzwang is a weapon here against the rook, which is not often the case. So the rook must be activated. This is the only chance. And then it is a draw, because now black is active. But this yeah, so far so good. This violates a major guideline of the fourth phase of the game, as we will see, but the rook must be activated. This is a good guideline, and the rook shall not blockade the passed pawn. It shall be active. And here it's a draw. Astonishingly, the guideline would say that white is winning the fourth phase as he is to move and has the first check, and black's king is relatively open, but here it's a draw. As black's king can use white's g-pawn as umbrella to seek shelter from the checks, and then the game was drawn after some further moves. But for the guideline, it is important that this is the right distribution of roles. The king blockades the passed e-pawn, and black's rook is the wrong blockading piece on a6. The rook doesn't want to blockade enemy passed pawns. So it should be activated, and this is why Alexander Grischuk shows the only drawing move, rook d6.